Hi everybody, I'm going to attempt to do a video recording of this PowerPoint. It's my first one, so we'll just see how it goes. This is all about prologues, and it is based on a prologue from the book The River Singers. So this prologue can be found in your learner's book, so read page 7 of your learner's book, and that is where you are going to find it. I'm going to read this together. The River Singers. The rumour spread from burrow to burrow down the length of the great river. The females, eyeing each other over their boundaries, commented on it in hushed tones. The males spoke of it with raised chins and defiant looks before moving on and away to do their own business. The rumour told of a new danger to the folk. It told of a horror which came in the night. It told of the great river stripped bare of her people, of entire colonies gone. It told of the end of their world. But perhaps, they thought, a rumour is all it was. The ancient enemies, the fox, heron, weasel, had always been there, awaiting the unwary or unlucky. And still the folk prospered. The great river sang, and her grasses were plentiful, and her waters were warm and bustling with life. No, perhaps rumours were only rumours, and the lives of the folk would continue as before. But even so, the mothers turned an eye to their young and slept more lightly than they had, and the males scented the breeze more carefully before straying into the open, more quickly and fed more watchfully. Sylvan and the others, nestling in their chamber, knew nothing of the rumours. They knew nothing of the outside. They knew their mother, the sense of their home, and the rhythms of the great river. They knew hunger, which could be quenched with milk. But one day they would learn that sometimes a rumour is more than a rumour. Sometimes a rumour is a life which has yet to come. By Tom Morehouse. So, prologues. What does a vole look like? There's one. Little guy, cute little mouse-looking creature, tiny. There's another one. Very sweet. Main thing about voles that makes them different from mice is that they are water creatures, a little bit like a cross between a beaver and a mouse, I think. There he is in his little house next to the river there. The River Singers follows a group of water voles, small shrew-like mammals that live on leafy riverbanks. The destruction of the natural environment is an important world issue, and this story has the environmental background of human development slowly destroying the natural river habitat of the water voles, forcing them to move upstream to find a new habitat. So, other animals mentioned are foxes, herons, and weasels. So, just looking at those creatures, can you guess what country the River Singers is from? Can you imagine? Where does a fox come from? Where does a heron come from? Weasels? Can you think which country it might be? You said England. I think you might be right, because that is where it was based from. Okay, here's some more tricky words. Burrow. There's a little burrow there. It means their underground house. And then colonies. Colony is a word used to describe groups of animals. Okay, here's a group of penguins that you can see, but also you can have a colony of ants. You can have a colony of, I can't think of any other colonies right now, my mind's gone blank. But colony is for groups of animals, and obviously a colony of voles. Okay, now read the River Singers again. We will try to go into groups, to take it in turns, to read to each other. That is for when we're doing it in class, but for now, let's just keep going. Okay, clues. What clues can be picked up that foreshadow events to come? Evidence. A detective must always have evidence. You cannot just accuse someone of a crime with no evidence or proof. The same when answering questions on a passage. You must give evidence. If you're actually giving a quotation, it must be in speech marks. For example, from burrow to burrow. Okay, so then we're going to use these questions to find out how good a detective you are. And you have to use evidence from the text in your answers. Okay, so you're going to write down your answers. It says in your English 1 exercise book. Okay, that's if we're doing it live. But for now, let's just see if you can think of the answers yourself. You can write it on any piece of paper if it helps you to think of what the answers are. Okay. What clues show that the characters are not human? Can you find which words make you realize that the characters are not human? You're going to have to go back and have it open in front of you so you can see the words that might be giving us clues. Who are the folk? What could the horror be? What do you think is behind the rumor? Who lurks as ancient enemies? And why are they ancient? Are the folk still wary? And how can you tell? Why do Sylvan and the others know nothing of the rumors? The last one I actually can't read. What the last two lines suggest about the, and I can't actually read that. Okay, so you've got to think about what clues you can find in the text that help you answer these questions. Remember, your key words when you're asking questions of the text are the first word of the sentence. What clues show the characters are not human? Who are the folk? That means you're asking a question about a person or people or animals. What could the horror be? What do you think is behind the rumor? Who lurks as ancient enemies? Why are they ancient? When you see the word why, immediately the light bulb that goes off in your head is that you need to use the word because. Why needs because. Are the folk still weary? How can you tell? Why do Sylvan and the others know nothing of the rumors? And what do the last two lines suggest about, and I can't read the word. Okay, and here are some answers. So before you look at the answers, you need to give yourself a little bit of time to think about those. Because I'm doing a live recording, I'm just going to carry on and go straight on. What clues show that the animals' characters are not human? There are some words that we found: burrows, foxes, natural enemies, scenting the air. Natural enemies you wouldn't talk about with people, would you? Scenting the air, nestled in the chamber. There were also a couple more other ones I don't know if you found them. For example, using the words male and females. You don't normally use males and females when you're talking about people. You say men and women, don't you? Something like that. Who are the folk? What do you think? Waterville, the main characters. When we first read it, we don't know that they're actually waterville. It doesn't tell us. We just know that they are the main characters, and we know that they're animals and that they live near water. That's about as much as we can tell. Clues. What could the horror be? Did you think about that? Did you come up with an answer for that? Something that is destroying the environment and the animals. I bet you can take a guess what that something could be. What do you think is behind the rumor? Humans, bulldozers, machines, development, events. Who lurks as ancient enemies? Why are they ancient? That's foxes, weasels, herons. They're ancient because they've always been there. Foxes and weasels have always been the predators of old, so they're ancient. Are the folk still wary? Are is a yes or no question. Yes. They're looking after their young carefully. They're sleeping lightly. They scented the breeze more carefully. These are all clues that are in the act of writing. They ran more carefully. They fed more watchfully. Why do Sylvan and the others know nothing of these rumours? Because they're still babies. They have not been out of the burrow. Did you get that one? What did the last two lines suggest about the rumours? The rumours are true. Life is going to change. Okay, so let's talk about vocabulary and the mood of the river. Suspense. These are some of the feelings that we get from the beginning prologue that give us a clue about what's going to come in the rest of the book. And one of the main feelings that set the mood for us is this feeling of suspense. And suspense means a feeling of being excited or anxious or uncertainty about what may happen. Tranquility. Tranquility is the state of being calm. Foreboding. Foreboding is a feeling that something bad will happen. It's a great word to use. If you can use the word foreboding in a sentence when you're writing, that is amazing. Hilarity. Hilarity is extreme amusement, especially when expressed by laughter. Anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease about something with an uncertain outcome. Menacing. Check the spelling of menacing. Menacing suggests the presence of danger, is threatening. And excitement. Excitement is a feeling of great enthusiasm and eagerness. So, choose a word to describe the mood of the prologue. What would you say? Suspense, tranquility, foreboding, excitement, menace, hilarity, anxiety. And this is the important part. Which words in the text support your choice? How could you change the mood? You can change the mood by changing the vocabulary used. So, choose a word to describe the mood of the prologue. If you said foreboding, menace, suspense, I'd definitely say you're on the right track. Which words in the text support your choice? Go have a look. He used words like the end of their world, entire colonies gone, horror which came in the night, stripped bare of her people. Those words create this mood of foreboding and menace. How could you change the mood of the prologue? Well, change the words. Change the ending to being positive. The animals and the nature growing. Okay. Right. This is for when we're doing it in class, but we can just have a discussion, just you and me. Summarize your predictions about the story. What do you think will happen in this story? From the prologue, we've got a sense of foreboding, we've got a sense of suspense. So, can you predict what the story is going to happen in the story? Have a think. What genre do you think this story is? Do you think you would enjoy this book? Why? Okay, which of these descriptions matches the prologue in the River Singers? Is it A, it is a flashback giving the readers clues to help them understand the story, events, and characters? Or is it a flash forward revealing later events to build suspense, a foreshadowing? Or C, is it spoken by an all-knowing narrator who gives hints of things the characters know? What do you think? Flashback? Flash forward? Or an all-knowing narrator who gives hints of things the characters need to know? What do you think? It is definitely spoken by an all-knowing narrator who gives hints of things the characters need to know. I also think definitely got an element of foreshadowing to it, doesn't it? It speaks about a rumor. Right, here I'm going to play you a video about waterfalls. So I'm hopefully going to pause and let the video play.
I mean, we have quite a few redundant buildings here, which is perfect habitat for the owls. It's all high-intensity agriculture around here, and we're just a fantastic little oasis amongst it. And having a great passion for wildlife since the age of about 5, I incorporated that in the plans and the vision for the site, really. I first realised there were water voles there when I was sitting on the bench there with a cup of tea, and you just hear that little plop. I thought, hey, water vole. You know, I always want a bit of a project for the year. This year is the year of the water vole, really, and I've just really got a buzz out of it. It's very, very interesting with the mini cameras and the perspective that you can get with those. It looks like the vole's just done the fastest 50 metres possible, but in actual fact, the scale of that, when you look at it, is only about 10 feet. And then the reeds are huge, great trees, and the bank, you know, I mean, looks like a cliff. I was just absolutely blown away with the detail on it. It's awesome. What I've been doing lately is getting down on the ground and getting the eye level shots, and it changes the sort of photograph you get with that. So I lay there with about, you know, just sort of an inch above the water, stay perfectly still, and the water vole comes out to a little island that we built for him. It's been, you know, absolute great fun and quite enlightening, really. Just wanted to get really close in so you can see the feet and them gripping, and it's all that detail and the towel slapping and all that sort of thing. Seeing the interaction between the voles, and you know, some of them completely ignore one another, you know, don't even almost look at one another, and then occasionally, obviously this time of year, mating and everything else, they would almost have a little bit of a fight on top of the weed. It's been fascinating, absolutely fascinating. The more time you put in, the luckier you get. You know, it's not instant gratification, that's for sure. The buzz that you get from coming in and you put the old card in the machine and whiz through it and see what you get, and I mean, it's almost like winning the lottery. You go, yes!
A top bloke and a top animal. I mean, do you know we've had so much footage sent in over the last 10 years of Springwatch? I think that is, without a doubt, some of the best.
Very innovative.
Brilliant,
Putting
thank
those
you,
little remote
Russell.
cameras underneath to get it swimming in was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I think we might be using that idea in the next series of Springwatch. But, you know, I find it really sad about the water vole. Over the last 30 years, its numbers have declined 90%, and it's thought that it's the fastest decline of any native British mammal in living history. And I find it particularly sad because I've done reports about that over the last 27 years. So we know the problems. We know it's loss of habitat, predation from the non-native North American mink. We know that, you know, they haven't been able to get around from one habitat that they're in to another.
Fragmentation.
Floods are a problem as well.
Yeah.
Water quality is a problem.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly enough, the recent floods, I read, have actually helped some of the populations because it's meant that they can disperse a little bit more.
Yeah, they can swim. Normally they'll only go up and down a river, but if the fields were flooded, they can go over and maybe get to another water catchment area. But I know you say it's of course it's depressing. You know, when a population of an animal's got 90% decline in 30 years, it sounds like it's got one foot in the grave. But I have to tell you, during the same amount of time, we've learned a tremendous amount about how to conserve water voles, not least breeding them in captivity and successfully putting them back into the wild. There are a couple of people, Derek Gow in the southwest, Peter Smith at Wildwood. They're churning out lots of water voles and releasing them successfully. So we have the ability and we have the technology to be able to address these sorts of conservation dilemmas. We've just got to...
Okay, so what did we learn? Prologue. Do you remember? Right. This brings us to the end. What did we learn? Why do we think an author might use a prologue? And